Agent Romanoff. You miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey, everyone.
I went to her that morning, and I said, listen, I had a really scary dream last night, and you'll probably think I'm crazy, but I think I have a brain tumor, and I'd really like to get it checked out. And she said, you are crazy, but you shouldn't have to live with that fear. So I'll order you an MRI tomorrow, or a CAT scan tomorrow.
You come to Hollywood and you're chasing this dream, you want to be an actor, you know? Like, there's not a ton of milestones that are crystal clear that you know what they look like. Because for the most part, the things that are going to help you get to your goal are movies that haven't been written yet, they're jobs that haven't existed yet. You're kind of giving yourself over to this thing saying, like, please, I don't want to be a waiter anymore, I want to be an actor.
Yeah, it was a do or die moment for me, actually. I think Kitchen Confidential had gotten canceled, you know, and I remember thinking, if this doesn't work, maybe I'm not right for this business, I thought that there are moments in life when you think, like, you know what, it kind of does matter if this fails, or you fail in it.
I went to the hospital with her, and I went by myself. I was going to meet her later with the neurologist. And I got my CAT scan and met her in the neurologist's office an hour later, and the neurologist nurse came in and asked her out of the room, and I could hear some murmurings in the room next door. And she came in, and she was white as a sheet. And
there's a search to be in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Does that only apply to acting?
It's everything that reality looks and feels and smells and sounds like, but you know it's not, and you're completely in control of that unfolding. And that's the time where I really feel the most present. And I think that's part of my addiction to acting, because I struggle to find that in life. It's a bit harder.
Yeah, and that's that, and so there's very few things that are crystal clear, like images of what you would want. But one of them is to work with an icon, to work with somebody like a Steven Spielberg. And so like so that to me was one of, you know, my goals. You wouldn't even want to say it out loud because it'd be so ridiculous to say,
yeah.
What do you want to do, kid? Well, I want to work with Steven Spielberg. And they'd be like, nah, I don't know, you know?
And she sat down and she said, you have a mass behind your left ear the size of a golf ball. And we don't know what it is exactly, and you'll need an MRI. And I was like, yeah, it's not a great time to say I knew it, but.
And it was hard. It was it was the hardest thing I've ever been through by far. And I remember thinking, if I can get through this, it may be as hard, but it's impossible for it to be harder. And it's true. And I've had a lot of hard times since in more jobs, you know, when you're like, wow, the pressure's so intense.
But the hunt for the moment, you know, the hunt to be present, that's the goal. You know what I mean? Acting is like a temporary artificial substitute it's like a drug. It's great. My goal in life is to find that, you know, to be present like that in life. It's hard.
I didn't really have any tinnitus or tinnitus. I didn't have any really symptoms. After I found out what it was and got my hearing checked, I had lost 7% of my hearing, but they thought, you know, it's a very slow-growing tumor, so it was undiscernible to me over that time. I didn't feel like I couldn't hear out of that ear any worse than I could in my other ear.
Because in life, in a similar way, friendships develop and they change, and sometimes you can know someone for, you know, 15, 20 years, but people change and sometimes they go on different paths. And those two guys have certainly known each other for a long time, and they have a lot still in common and a bond, but now they've each had a lot of separate life experiences.
I think I learned early on that if I can somehow make people laugh, I'm not going to get beat up, and I can maybe be accepted into a group a little bit easier.
Did you get beat up?
I didn't get beat up, no, but I always felt a little bit on the outside. You know, certainly in Kansas, and being Jewish, was a bit of an anomaly in the town that I lived in and the school that I went to.
You know, then I went and got an MRI and met with the neurologist. And they said, well, you know, the good news is it's not malignant, we don't think. We think it's an acoustic neuroma, which is the best of the worst.
Is there anything that scares you in your life?
My life? Yeah, look, a lot of things. Mainly, you know, I think most of us, our mind is sort of, you know, convinces us that things are worse than they are or better than they are and sets us up for a fall constantly, you know. And, you know, usually what scares you the most is what doesn't actually exist. You know, in amongst doing it, it's actually not so bad.
And like be there so long mentally, does it kind of get to you emotionally?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's it's some heavy, difficult, you know, discussions and topics to be dealing with, you know, and it's gut wrenching, it really is. It's very challenging.
You did some interesting jobs. You glazed hams.
Glazing hams. It was more than just a basic glaze. I had to. It was a full day. A torch and a sugar sifter. And it's a kind of a repeated motion of, and then you got to wrap it and weigh it and get it out front.
But those early jobs teach you something, right? I mean, did your parents?
Well, they taught me that I don't want to glaze hams for a living.
And my wife was about to deliver our first child, and so I didn't want to ruin that for her by breaking her the bad news that her husband had a brain tumor. So I waited to tell her till after the baby was born, which was about 3 weeks after I found out.
But not to like not in like a negative way. More.
Yes, yeah.
It's more of like, why else are we alive and here? We should be feeling things. We should be connecting. We should be.
Yeah, with that,
you know,
there was a lot of.
There's a lot of pain.
Connected, yeah, pain, yeah. But that, you know, that sort of, I'm gonna say like misery loves company, but then you have something that is common, like Gil's character and my character,
yeah.
Two fathers dealing with.
When your dad passed away, how did it change how you looked at the world?
Well, it just knocked my world off its axis. And you have these weird thoughts. It's like, today's the first day of my life my father hasn't been alive. Like, I'm on Earth and he's not on Earth. And I just remember having lunch a week later with a friend of mine who had lost his dad, and he said, you'll never get over it, but you will get through it. And that's certainly the case. I mean, I'm not over it.
Kept it under wraps because it was already a lot to deal with, and people sometimes tend to make your tragedy their tragedy.
Culture is really something that's hard to explain. It's opened my eyes to a lot. I think first it was just kind of a shock because I don't know why, but for some reason I had expected that I was going to somewhere that was like the treatment center next to the prison. When I got here, it was like it was a prison yard, and came here and I was like, wow. You see razor wire fences, you see a lot of correctional officers.
But, and there's, you know, like I have a daughter, and my dad didn't even know he would have had a granddaughter. And it's like, that's just unacceptable.
It is.
Yeah, it's just the way it is, and you get on with your life.
My greatest fear, honestly, was that I was gonna die. I didn't know whether it was benign or malignant when I found out about it, and my dream was so startling that, and it was so. The impression from the dream was that it had to be dealt with immediately, and because of that, I had an added sense of anxiety.
The first violation I did 6 months, and then on the second one, he literally threw the book at me and went for the maximum sentencing allowed, which was a 3-year sentence.
I fumble around. What I really love a lot about this is, even though with all this sort of the heaviness with it, it's very actionable. People are doing things. Mm-hmm. It's not like no one's sitting and wallowing, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, people
are doers. Everyone, and that, to me, that I love that.
I would go into those hospitals for years, and the kids were always so nice, and they didn't know who I was. They weren't really old enough to see any of the Apatow stuff, any of the rated R comedies. And then Ant-Man changed that, and so now these kids are aware of who I am, and it makes the visits with them like it's really fun for all of us.
The people that there's like an understanding that you go through like however many steps of grief, and then you move on from it. When grief isn't something that you ever get rid of, it's just something you have to you just take it with you for the rest of your life. But it's incredible that it's something that we don't talk about.
But it definitely tested every aspect of our relationship and our friendship and the future, our ideas for the future. It put everything to the test in a really heavy way for so early a marriage.
This is Robert Downey Jr. He's the highest paid actor in the world. How troubled paths led to the greatest third act in Hollywood history.
I believe that, and Lord Attenborough told me this 20 years ago, yeah. Dickie, who passed away recently, he said, you know, when you find your ambition, all this stuff will clear up. Now, it's never that simple. So when you stop thinking about yourself as someone who's on the outside, and you start really seeing what's possible for me, what could I do, how could I put these jabs together and maybe get a shot at the title, that's when he thought all this other stuff would clear away.
If you know you're an adult, it's not just fun and games. You're actually trying to build something, and when it doesn't work out, you start to kind of get, you know, it's a heady game acting. You know, for any movie you book, there's probably, you know, dozens of rejections, and that can play on you. So you start to kind of put pressure on yourself. You know, sometimes you go through stints of having really good auditions, really solid auditions, being like, I'm good. Every time I go in the room, I feel centered, I'm present, I'm ready. Other times, you're like, man, I feel like I forget how to act.
Just be patient and accept the journey that you've been asked to take.
Thing was kind of going on with my mom and her health the whole time, and then just a few weeks ago she passed, and I felt like I'm not really ready to like talk about it yet, but I wanted to, you know, I wanted to do or say something, and it's odd because I want to kind of say something, so I'll just say I'll write something for 20 million people to read. But it was kind of part of my grieving process, I think, in a way. And she was a great gal. She's a big fan of yours, by the way.
Oh, well,
yeah.
thanks.
Even now.
Yeah.
She's probably watching right now.
Thank you.
You know, you're on this road alone, ultimately. Yes, there'll be people around you to help and so on and so forth, but ultimately this is a journey into you, and in the end, you will be better for it.
Hey, it's Gigi Hadid. For more videos like this, click here.
Hi, I'm Cara Delevingne. Please don't forget to subscribe by clicking this button right here. Boop.
Thanks for watching.